Alright. Hello, here we are again today for another daily upload. This one's gonna be a bit wild, so you'll have to bear with me. Essentially, the plan for the day is building a complete set of armor from scratch. I don't care how long it takes. I've carved out all time available till like 7:59 tomorrow morning when this has to go up. So really, as long as it takes, I'll spend. I want to get this done. I've had a vision of having a different set of armor for every single day at AIC in a week. So I have one active set, and that's a Plasticor set. I need 4 more. And I think today we're gonna build some stuff. And like the Plasticor set, obviously that took me 3 years to build, 10 years to design. This one, we're spending 2 hours to design and then 10 hours to build. So this one's gonna be a bit more lickety-split like. But can we do it? I have absolutely no idea. I have repeatedly found myself overwhelmed by how long things take, because I really just lose focus when I'm building here in the studio, and it'll go from like 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. like really quick. And then when I try to do that same thing at the studio at Cardboard, or at the Forge at Cardboard Camp, I try to build armor for some kid and it ends up taking like 3 hours, and I'm shocked where the time goes. I feel like I did so much less than I would have otherwise been able to. So today, I'm a little bit here to prove to myself that I can actually build a set of armor in that time. So it's probably going to be a lot of time-lapsing and a lot of recording, but I've got my USB cable and my GoPro's on a tripod, so I'll leave it plugged in so it keeps charging, and just kind of like spend the day here and see what comes of it. So that's the plan for today. I guess I'll do a short video explaining some of my designs and how I want to do some of this stuff. So that's what you'll see next. Alright, so this video is going to be a bit like a randomizer one, in that we're building something, but instead of it being randomized, it's just an entire set of armor. So that's a little bit absurd to write, but yeah, that's what's going on. So let me just grab a second. Okay, so essentially, I've built so much armor, a lot of it for myself, but more recently, I've designed sets for like camps or for campers or other people, or just like basic designs and whatnot. So I think I have some ideas for how we can build something quickly and simply. And so we'll just give a, all right, don't laugh at me. Four limbs, and then hip armor, shoulder armor, and then like a helmet or something. And so that's like all of the different design elements we need to actually make here now today. So there are a lot of different ways I could do this. I could go this like really, really complicated leg armor and then really simple chest armor, or vice versa. But I think I'm just gonna do a little bit of sketching and we'll just see what arises out of it. So I think for speed reasons, we may go with the traditional AIC 2-piece chest plate. So we cut out 2 pieces that look like this, sorta, and we literally tape 3 sides, and then we have this one be a little bit longer, and we do a hole and pin strategy to close it. So like really, really, really simple chest plate. I normally make mine a lot more form-fitted, but these ones are a lot faster, so I think that's what we'll end up going with. For shoulders, I recently came across a very, very simple shoulder design that I'm actually pretty happy with, that I think is what I'll be doing for this set of armor, and it is essentially a semicircular, it's one of my pauldrons, but even easier to build, so it'll take a really short period of time to actually make, which is great. It is literally like a semicircle with a plate on it, so it'll be an extremely, extremely easy thing to build. That's 3 for my, and then what I think I'm gonna do, this might be a little sacrilegious to some, but I think I'm just gonna have no upper arms because they're just covered by pauldrons, and have big lower arms to compensate. And by big, I mean kind of like enroaching up into your upper arm area-ish. I don't know if that's a great idea, or maybe I can do Yeah, I think we'll try that. So, my favorite gauntlet design essentially looks like this, where that is the back ear thing, and it's just scored a bunch, so it's really flat. And this is also scored a ton. Anyway, and so your wrist and the inside of your elbow goes through here, and these two ends are combined with one another. And we can just make two of those printed out really easily, just so they'll be nice and form-fitting. So the gauntlet will probably look something like that on both arms, of course. Now, the leg armor, I think I'm just gonna do the sort of like cut tubes, and I'm just gonna do throughputs, so they're not gonna really taper all that much. They're just gonna be kind of loose, which will be really easy to make. They're just literally just tubes, like, I don't know what to say, it's just a tube. And then you do the same thing with these, actually. You can also just make them tubes, but the widest point they have to fit through is the joint between your heel and your thing. So the tube has to at least be that wide when you flexure out your foot to try to slide through. It at least has to be that wide. And so that'll be the measurement definition for how big those are. And then I think for my knees, I might just do the very old. We'll get a little bit historic here and do. We could do the extremely simple design that I used to do, just like this, where it's it looks a bit like a tackle. I don't know if that's a word that means anything to anyone else, but it just sort of looks like this, and you have two holes top bottom, and it's just kind of like jointed here, so it'll look like big old squares on the front. For my hip armor, there's no chance I do something as complicated as like the really advanced stuff that I like doing on my actual meta armor. But what I think I can do, I've been thinking of the system, because normally the hip armor is always taped onto the lower half of the chest plate, so it's hard mounted, but your pauldrons are not hard mounted. So what if I figured out a way of soft mounting these? And I think I figured out this design with some like weird cylinder things, where it could essentially like be a soft mounted rig that you'd have ties in the front and the back for. And so it would be a little bit of work to like get everything tied on when you're actually like getting in the armor, but it could also be a really cool way of like having everything like be tightly tied around you and not have to be taped on, and then you have to worry about ripping it. As for the helmet, I might try to make like a simpler type of helmet. In my helmet video, I talked a lot about how you make a skull cap, and then you can make a jaw if you want to, and with the ear connection, and then you just put a skin over top of it. I think the easiest type of skin to make is just like another big old pauldron. I might do another one of those. I think that'll be the 14th helmet I ever make. I wonder if there's a way of me doing one of those pauldrons though, or would that just look stupid? Like, yeah, it might just look really dumb, wouldn't it? I don't know. That's a tricky idea. Yeah, I'll probably just have to do one of the more complex pauldrons, because those are true quarter circles, and these are just sort of cut apart cylinders. So yeah, I think that's essentially what it'll look like a little bit. I don't know if I'll go with an actual visor or if it'll just be open. Some of my really old helmets were just open, and it's just obviously faster and easier to make. So let's see if we can do a really quick sketch outline of everything. There's probably no foot armor for this one. Back in the old days, when I was first doing foot armor, it was never connected to the shins, because ankles are really hard, because they are very high, like, torque when you actually, or not high torque, high force is what I really mean to say. When you're running, you're very liable to rip your ankle joints if they're too hardly mounted, and so lames are really the only solution, and this armor will require no lames whatsoever. I want it to be a lot simpler than the actual meta set. It'll be it's still a pretty advanced set of armor. I mean, you can see here, it looks like, oh god, that's going to take me all day, which I intended to. But yeah, so I think that's what we're essentially going to be doing. I'll probably start it off with the chest plate, and then maybe work on like the 6 loops we got to do, and then go from connector bits and probably end off on the helmet. So if I don't get a helmet built today, yeah, it's neither here nor there. I have so many other helmets anyways. But yeah, that's the plan for today. Alright, so that right there was around 23 minutes of solid building, and I have the largest piece of armor of the full set out of the way already. Of course, to a degree, it's one of the simpler pieces. Like the design I used is pretty darn simple. I would feel comfortable making one of those every about 23 minutes. Like, I could repeat that. That was a pretty easy pace for a relatively easy piece. Beyond this, everything's gonna get harder, which means it's gonna take longer. So we're gonna move straight from this, I think, into gauntlets and like leg loops. We're doing both upper and lower legs, but just lower arms. So we have 6 loops to do. I'll do the gauntlets first because I know them the best, because I made them the most, because they're pretty easy. So yeah, that's what's next. So yeah. So, here we are. That last recording was 27 minutes on my mark. So, in that, we accomplished the lower arms, the shin and thigh pieces. Oh, this is really a bad drawing. Here, we'll start over. Oh god, this is gonna take me forever, isn't it? Well, here, listen. We'll just like do it poorly and call it a day. So, we have wonderful little shin pieces, and I did decide to make them tapered, perhaps against my best judgment, but that's just sort of the way things went, so that's what they are. But we have all of our leg bits except for knees. We have our lower arm pieces, and we have a very nicely tapered chest plate. So we're actually doing like very well, both on time and on actual like stuff made. We've made 7 things so far. Now comes essentially all of the rest of the annoying bits. We gotta make knees, hips, shoulders, helmet. So those 4 things really, or 7 because 3 of them are doubled. Anyway, so the problem I'm immediately faced with are the knees, because I wanna finish the legs and then start moving my way upwards, eventually reaching the helmet. These knees could happen a lot of different ways. So the way I've made the leg pieces so far is such that they are encapsulated. I talked a lot about this in my armor meta video, how armor is made turning plates into things or something. I don't remember how it went, but essentially I talked a lot about how the 5 phases of armor, different ways you level up, and at the very start you have huge gaps, and then you cover the gaps, and then there are gaps between the gaps that you covered, and so now you have to cover those, and you go so on and so forth. And essentially the meta I've designed so far is a very complicated like lame system around a upper and lower leg piece. So it's this huge bulky knee joint that I think looks really cool, but also takes so long to make, and it's such high effort as well. So it's a very complicated piece to build. The very simple one to build is just like this. You literally cut that time, make 3 folds, and then you just like tape it at the right angles, and you get this little like block and tackle thing. But the back is completely exposed. So the whole back of your knee, away from the actual tackle bit, is completely exposed. And that used to be so that when these were still like disconnectable, you could slide your leg out the back of them, but I don't need to do that anymore, and this armor is designed not to have you do that, to have you take your shoe off and actually slide out going the top way instead, so you pull your leg out instead of sliding it out, which I think is better and is actually more protective and just like lighter weight too, because you don't need a clasp mechanism in the back. But this means that whatever the back of our knee joint is kind of left open to interpretation, because it could be encapsulated. The cheeky strat you can do is you do like a piece of cardboard like that, that's a little bit loose, and then it just gets crumpled a little bit, which is neither here nor there. It certainly works, but it's also like every time you're crumpling cardboard to flex, it's a little bit of a scam, but sometimes it needs to happen, but like I don't really want it to have happen at all in this one. So I'd like to design a system right now where I don't have to do that. The tackle system in the front is obviously a really good one, but how is that going to wrap around to the back? What is the back of this knee going to look like? And how will that all function is essentially my current quandary question. I don't know. Yeah, so it could be something that either attaches to the joint itself or it attaches to the loops on the joint itself. Really the two big options. It can't be one solid piece that flexes, because if it flexes, it kind of invalidates the point. Like, I made my arms as just pauldrons and not as my super cheaty but like incredibly protective technique, but this has like a bunch of unofficial folds in here that allow it to function. And I really don't want to do those. I want to do actual like hard plates. So I don't know what kind of hard plates this is going to have to look like. Ironically, most medieval armor just doesn't have back of knee protection until you get to really late stuff, and then all the really late stuff is all lames. And I don't want to do lames since they're a lot of work. So I don't exactly know what I should do here. Yeah, lames really just are kind of the best. Really, there's nothing else that I could design or build that isn't going to be that's going to fit my qualifications of not being bendy, that will actually work. Yeah, but I don't want to do it though. I don't know. What I might just do, just so there's something, is I might just do this. I think that's what my black armor, my black meta armor had. It had really thin little bands by the back there that kind of just connected it and made it into a loop. And so, yeah, there was another small gap above and below that, but it just was a little bit more protective and like kind of helped in theory, and I don't know. That's probably what I'll do. God, it's so sad. I don't know. Well, whatever. We gotta move on. We want to make a full set of armor today, and it doesn't need to be the best set in the world. It just needs to be a set. And most other people's sets wouldn't even have any back of knee stuff, let alone any knee stuff at all. So, I mean, we're already a step up from there. I suppose let's just take it with this and move on. Alright, so here we are. I don't know what percentage this is complete. I think, looking at it now with everything put on, I am definitely going to have to do upper arm armor. Like, it just... The pauldrons will come to like there, and there'll just be too big of a gap, so I think I am going to have to cover it. I don't know what I'm going to do for the elbow joints. I never know what I do for elbow joints, except for lames, and I don't want to do this. But I think the legs, I knew there would be gaps in the back. They pretty much go away when you like close the legs, so that's good. But I knew those were going to be dead. There's nothing I can really do about it, except the lames, I don't want to do. But the next big step for me is waist joint. I got this whole like big old torso section that I gotta cover with something, and I have an idea, and it's something I have never tried before, and so it'll be a first. But I think it'll work well and look cool and protect well. So here's where we are, and I guess it's just an update clip with everything on. I quite like the way this chest piece looks. It tapers really aggressively, just kind of a skinny boy, but I don't know, it'll be good, it'll be good. Especially when we get a nice waist piece on, that'll look really nice. So yeah, here we are now. I'll probably cut to inside explaining how I want this waist piece to look. So there's that. Alright, so here we are inside, back with the paper, sitting down, and now I'm going to explain to you essentially what hip pieces need to do in general and how mine works. So right now we got this wonderful, pretty simple contraption, really. The lower leg piece, and that goes up to the bottom of the thigh and no higher. And then you have your whole true waist section that moves up, and my chest piece covers the top of that. So really, the actual thigh armor goes to like there, and the actual chest armor comes to like there, and there's this huge gap in between. And in the past, I mean, I've done a ton of different things to try to cover this. Every full set of armor has to cover this in some way. The El Cheapo way that I normally recommend doing to kids, because it's like very reliable, but it isn't actually like very good. It's just one of the better ones I've ever seen, and it's taping on flaps like this, where the flap is around the piece in kind of like a curved shape. So you tape it there, tape it there, and then like overlap the seams of the top. It's a pretty simple little guy, but there's some very strange angular problems you run into, primarily with these things like folding flat, and then even if you have this, there's still like gaps here. It's a very messy problem. It's very hard to try to like actually do a good solution to this. And so I've been coming up with different things for years. My hugest meta breakthrough was making it a one-piece system where it's a little bit more like an actual like pair of pants that you slide on over top of another pair of sub pants. It looks a little bit weird, but it's an incredibly effective system because it completely covers everything. It's like really good in comparison to these combination of flaps. Essentially, I want to do something that's a little bit more like this and a little bit less like this for this set of armor. So what I'm sort of trying to do is have free floating flaps, free floating flaps that are on either side and perhaps on front and back, that are riding over top of both of these pieces so they protect both of them, and are tied to both of them so that it keeps the legs up and pulls the torso down. And this is what I think it's going to look like, essentially. So they're pretty much going to be two curvy plates that form together to do like that, which is pretty much what the side section of that looks like, but the front section will look like that. We'll have two of them wide, and these will also be like curvy ones, just like these were. But oh god, am I just drawing out the whole thing now? Okay. In front and back, you'll have another mid flap that'll also be a little bit wider, and there'll be ties here. So it'll all tie together in the front and be permanently tied in the back. So every time you put it on, you have to slide everything in through these ties and tie it all together. and then your leg armor is attached to the center tie. So it's all kept up by this big old mid piece here, which is kind of holding everything together. If this goes well, it'll be an incredibly effective system that then you can like produce much easier than having it all be in one piece, and then it'll give you way more mobility and stuff. If it goes poorly, it either won't protect, will be impossible to tie on every time, or just be kind of insufferable. So, bit of a gamble, but we'll see. So that's essentially what it's gonna look like. Two very skinny front and back plates, and then two big old like wide hip plates that are curved. That'll be kind of a pain to invent, but that's how it's gonna work. So, yep. I'll bring you back when I got cardboard, I guess. Alright, so essentially here we are with, I would say a possible completed hip joint. I don't mind the front quite as much. There are a little bit of gaps if you lean back, but if you lean forward they disappear. But a big old butt gap right there that I'm not happy with. I don't know exactly what to do to fix it, but that can't sit. I can't have a gap that huge. I really like the way that the leg joints come up in the front though. It gives me some pretty good protection. I think if I am going to be using a Vanguard with this set, I'll have nice mobility and also pretty good forwards protection. Even if I crouch down a little bit more, it'll still pretty much cover all my stuff. But that butt gap just is unacceptable. So we're going to have to figure out something else. I'm not entirely sure what. It might come as like a like through the leg something. Those really suck, but that might be what it has to be. I don't know. We'll have to look slightly closer and do a bit of a redesign, I suppose. But this is the current condition of it. I guess I just show it off, and yeah, I think we might have to go back to the drawing board. Honestly, I'm pretty unhappy with how that is in the back. It was a good idea, and it worked pretty well in the front, but the idea needs some tinkering with before it's good for recommendations at camp. So yeah, we'll do a little bit more thinking, and then I'll bring you back inside to the drawing board. So yeah. Alright, so here we are, back at the drawing board. So I said after I did that show off of everything that I had so far that I'd come back and try to redesign my hip joint, but honestly, I'm not even that unhappy with it. I did a little bit more bending in the back, because the front, well, there are some small holes. Really, I don't care that much about them. The back is what I was worried about, and I did some bending back there, so I think, generally speaking, everything will be fine, and I think I'm ready to move on. So, our next step is shoulders. There are a lot of different forms these shoulders could take. The difficult one, but the one that I really love doing, is the one that I don't know if I designed it, but I might have. This sort of like Viking pauldron type, super big, wide piece. I find this to be one of, if not the best type of shoulder, with the notable exception of the really complex one that takes me forever to do, but technically is the best type of shoulder armor in the game. But I'm absolutely not doing this for this adventure. That takes so long, and this is supposed to be fast. So I think I'll either do these, or we can go one step simpler and do the really easy kind of half cylinder ones. These ones, they're growing on me. I'm not gonna lie. They're really growing on me. Like, they're so easy to make. And then what I think I can do, because I was a little bit worried about my upper arm armor, because I have some pretty small little greaves down here, or not greaves, those are your shins, gauntlets. what I think I can do, and I know I said I wasn't gonna do lames, but I think I could like add in some sort of plate here that's attached underneath that and over top of that to kind of bridge that gap slightly. It's not gonna be a lame, but it like pretty much is a lame. So I'm sort of cheating to myself, but like I don't really care all that much because I think it'll just be a better set of armor, and it's not that hard to do. So I think I'll just do it. Like really, it'll make the armor better. I don't know exactly how it'll look, but I think it'll still be a cool design. So that's I think what we'll do. Simple shoulder, a little bit of a elbow connector, and then just attaching the gauntlet to everything else. So yeah, I'll get some cardboard and get right on that. Alright, so I've like built all this stuff. I got these shoulder pads and I have these gauntlets, but honestly I'm really not feeling either one. I think these look really dumb, and the gauntlets are really loose, which is nice for getting them slipped on, but also means that they're kind of floppy. I really just am not quite the fan, and I have enough cardboard and enough time to restart. I think I might run it back and do my pauldrons and my arms. It took years of development to get to those, and I figured that those were the most successful, and so I think I need to return to those because they are the most successful. And going into an actual week of AIC with this, I wouldn't feel bad, but it would just feel kind of weird because I know other people have my pauldrons and I don't, so they wouldn't really be mine anymore. So I think I am going to actually make my own pauldrons. So we're going to have to take a couple steps back to go forward, but hey, that's okay. So I've got legs, torso, and chest, and we're going to be taking off the pauldrons and retiring the gauntlets and changing them in for some actually good pauldrons and armor. And then we'll move on to a helmet. Oh, and then we got to make a sword, and then we'll be done. So that's it for that. I guess you'll see me finding the cardboard to make new armor and new pauldrons. Thanks. Well, here's that. Alright, well, here we are in what I consider to really be the full suit, but in truth, I have a helmet left to do, so this is where it stands. The back is still a little bit flappy, but I think it is in fact low down enough that I'm not really going to worry about it too much. The legs are good. I love these shoulders and arms. I'm so sorry, like, they're just so good. They cover so well. They're nice and tight. They do a perfectly good job front and back. And even if you raise your arms, they still aren't an issue until you raise them like way up or like tip your body. So when you're fighting, even if you're lunging forward, you're still very, very free to move. It's incredible. I'm not happy about this joint quite as much. As I was running out here to do the video, actually, both of the things ripped within 10 seconds of each other. I went back in and reinforced them, but like kind of a pain. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do about it, or if I need to do anything about it. But yeah, it's a bit annoying. But really, other than that, the mobility is crazy. And look at that. Let's see. Ow. Okay, that's the limit of my tendons, not the limit of my armor. Like, other than all of just the normal flexibility and armor things, I'm really not at all limited by this. So I think it's a very, very, very successful one-day set. Still gonna make a helmet though, and I will probably end up making the sword as well. And I guess I'll bring everything in, do that helmet, and then try to figure out a design for a sword. Hopefully finish that, and that'll be a full active set of armor made in like, I guess it was more like 5 hours of work, something like that, which is really quite good. Like, I was very productive there in some of the earlier stages. And yeah, I slowed down a bit for some things that took longer, but they were gonna take longer anyway because they were harder and I'm less used to making them. And I had to redo stuff. So otherwise a very, very productive afternoon. Yeah, well, I'll get on that helmet, so I'll take you back inside and show that. All right, so here we are now after we have completed essentially the full set. I mean, those are different than this picture, but pretty much the picture is exactly accurate. And now we move on to the last part, the helmet. I'm a little bit dreading this because my success rate with the rest of the armor is pretty high because I made like, what, 13 usable full sets, but I've made many, many more pieces of sets. I've made a lot of shoulders, but pretty much all of them have worked. I've made a fair few knees, some of them haven't worked. I've made a lot of hips, and many of them have failed. My arms have all been pretty good throughout history, but my helmets are the thing I have the hardest time with, partially because I can look at any other body piece just like by looking at it, but I can't look at my own head to figure out why things aren't working, and I can't really like tape stuff behind my own head onto my helmet. So it's a very, very difficult thing to actually like get right and do well, and I have a rather low success rate with it. That, and with the rest of the armor, I feel like I won't, okay, it's not like the Mona Lisa of armor, but it looks good. I think it looks kind of aesthetic. Like, I like the aesthetic of the armor. But with helmets are weird, because some helmets look really dumb, and I just like don't really know how to make them look better, or like what style I want to go with. Because, I mean, technically the best helmet would be like a motorcyclist helmet, but those look so stupid. They're kind of just like really puffy domes around the actual skull of the rider. It's a little weird. And like astronaut helmets are all well and good, but I don't have that massive piece of glass that they do in theirs, so that doesn't really work either for full encapsulation helmets. And I don't really like the look of Roman helmets. I don't want it to be a hat. I want it to have a lower jaw piece or kind of cover your full face, just because I get hit in the face so often that it is kind of a worry for me. So I don't know, helmets are weird. But what I did when I did the video about helmets, essentially what I said is you make a little skull cap, just one around, one over top, and then some little connecty bits, and then you can make a jaw piece, or you can just skin it like this. For this helmet, I kind of don't want to make a jaw piece because I'm not going to do like a mesh visor or anything like that. I think I'm just going to have it be out of cardboard and tape. So what I'm thinking of doing is doing like I might like buff, like push out the front of this a little bit with some extra pieces, and then do like some type of helmet skin as is. Something like this. With like actual like eye holes and stuff. I might try to just make like a helmet something like this. Just sort of sending it by making a skull cap, with a little bit of pad in the front so it's further away from my eyes, and then do a whole cutout thing with a nice thick face plate. I might actually have like 2 pieces of cardboard or something so it'd be more durable, but I think this pattern could look really awesome if I actually like get it to work well and it doesn't look weird. Because the bad thing that could happen are the little side bits don't actually work at all, and so they just like hold out straight instead of like actually curve in like they're supposed to. But I think if I use 2 pieces of cardboard for the helmet thing, it could look really good and it could like curve in nicely or something. I don't really know. And I don't exactly know what I would want those to look like either. I don't know. I'll probably go with this. I'm gonna make a skull cap, and then we're going to attempt to make some skinning designs, and we'll see how the designs look and we'll see how those fare. Hopefully we get it on the first try, but if we don't, we don't, and then we'll just try again. So yeah, I'll get some cardboard and start on in on the skull cap. Well, between liking and disliking this helmet, I think I probably dislike it. That's kind of dumb, but like, I don't know. It's way too crowny for me. It's too much spikes. Oh, and also whenever I speak, it echoes my voice back in my ears, which I also don't like. I like my helmets more like soldiery, less like showy, I guess. I didn't know I liked that, because all the helmets I've ever made before have been more soldiery, more like this one, where it's like very down to the ground, like super rugged, super durable, nothing left up. I mean, you can see all the scratch marks on the top where I've like run this stuff. This could not suffer any of these scratch marks here. Straight out. It's just a different helmet design, way more durable. Like, you can headbutt stuff with this, and I would be afraid trying to bushwhack with this. I think one of these spikes would definitely rip off. Also, this helmet doesn't bounce my voice back into my face quite as well. And they're actually ear holes where I can hear, as where these ones have ear coverings, which sort of prevent that. So, I don't know. For a helmet that I made in, like, what, less than 27 minutes or something like that, honestly, not so bad. It looks not awful. It's just not really my style. So, as far as the armor goes, that's all of the armor. Literally, that's everything. I have the full set, arms, chest, shoulders, hips, legs, even knees and lower legs, and now I got a helmet. So that's all the armor done for today, but that's not the full kit done. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a longsword and also a dagger to go with this full set, so that in theory I could really roll up to a week or to a day of AIC with all this stuff and have the full entire set that I wanted to use all completed and all like ready, so I could use a different one every day. That would be so crazy to me, and it's like pretty much there. So I think I might design on the fly. I might not do an actual like drawing board design of it. I might just literally sketch out some stuff on the piece of cardboard with like measurements there, just to like try to figure out something that looks good. I got my stick cut already, so I don't need to go do that. I also have a piece of bamboo I could use. Either way, yeah, that's it for armor. Just 2 more things, and then that'll be it for a full set in like less than 8 hours or something. That was really fast. I was worried that I'd be like up till midnight making stuff and then have to edit the video, and that would be like another 3 hours. I think the editing is going to be really long with this. I have so many time lapses to do, but yeah, so that's it for armor. Gotta make a sword and dagger. You'll see that now, so yeah. that's it for me today. I completed everything I wanted to on the armor. I have a full suit, which didn't exist this morning, a two-handed vanguard, and a helmet. So fully kitted out with everything I need to actually go into battle, with perhaps the exception of the dagger, which didn't get to make the dagger, but it's 3 inches and we're losing light, so I wanted to record this. So yeah, I feel pretty good, honestly. I feel like it was a bit of a cop-out making my same pauldrons and arm armor, but like I also make my same lower leg armor, so I don't know. I really like the set I came up with. I'm pretty proud of it, and especially because I just made it in a day. It was a rather quick adventure, actually. Oh, the helmet's kind of dumb, but it was a good craft. It was a hard day. Well, actually, no, it wasn't. I don't know. I'm rather undecided about how this went. The couple of different things that I would have liked to change are, this hip joint was a experiment. It was, like I always talk about in the randomizer videos, how I like to make stuff that I don't normally get the chance to. I mean, that's the point of this YouTube channel, really, is doing things outside of the norm just to express my knowledge, express how many things I've done. And, I mean, this is my 14th set of full armor, but I've made way more than 14 arms, 14 sets of arms. I've made way more than 14 pauldrons. I've made 20 plus legs. So really I've done so much. But this is, I can definitely say this is the first time I've ever made a full set in a single day. Like, that was a lot of time dedicated to this, but it is doable. So kids who ask me, hey, can you help me work on your armor? Yeah, sure, give me 6 hours and I'll build you a full set. But I need 6 hours though, because I think that's about how long it took. So, yep, that's what we got. Let's see, we gotta get a good thumbnail shot. But essentially, I think that's pretty much it for me today. Thanks for stopping by and watching me build this massive set of armor. I think it's mostly just going to be a big time lapse, but even so, it was still a very cool build, and I hope it'll be a cool episode. So that's it for me today. Thanks for stopping by and watching. Best of luck, and I'll see you tomorrow for another daily upload.